welcome to another Flick and the Bozman show. And you only deserve that type of music if you go 5-0 in your picks, Boz. And you did it.
It's a burning heart.
It's a burning heart. Just about to burst, break, I don't know.
Eye of the tiger, baby. Eye of the tiger.
I probably shouldn't make heart jokes, but that's okay. Something's about to happen to his heart.
Or is it going blank? I forget. No, you're on the mechanical thing now, right?
Yes. I'm on heart number 4, yes.
Mechanical man.
Yes. Valve number 4, I think.
Valve number 4. Close to Mambo number 5.
And yes, that's next. Next I get Lou Vega. Mambo number 5. Did you have that? Did you have Lou Vega?
I did not have Lou Vega. I would have the Baja Boys or something like that.
No, that is incorrect. That is incorrect. How are things?
Things are good. Had a good Christmas. Looking forward to New Year's.
How are your football teams doing?
My what now?
How's your baseball team doing?
They hired a manager. One of my sort of really hard to explain football teams is the Clemson Tigers, who are locked in a furious battle in the Cheez-It Bowl as we speak. 6-3 in the third quarter with Iowa State.
You don't want to dip in the Cheez-It Bowl, then
don't double dip. Don't double dip that Cheez-It Bowl.
No double dipping. Yes. A lot of teams pulled out of bowls, didn't they? Or
there's definitely some COVID things going on that nobody really wants to talk about. So
all sorts of nonsense. At one point, they said they were looking at 5-7 teams, and Rutgers was the best 5-7 team academically. So
I think didn't Rutgers get picked to go against Wake Forest?
Insert your Rutgers jokes here. What? I don't know. I have not been following that closely.
I think they may.
As soon as Kenny Pickett decided he wasn't going to play in the Peach Bowl, I stopped following any bowl news. I think I could name the Final Four, but I couldn't. Who's Alabama plays Cincy?
Alabama plays Cincy and Michigan and Georgia.
Michigan and Georgia. Okay, well, that should be decent, I guess. I don't know.
The Alabama-Cincy game does not figure, despite what Cincy is saying, does not figure to be that attractive a game.
No, and Cincinnati deserved to get it. They deserve to, if they want to go undefeated and get mauled by Alabama, they deserved it.
By the way, it is Wake Forest against Rutgers in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl.
That's better. The Jimmy Kimmel Bowl was exciting. That's been my favorite. Favorite
that's not bad. I think he's in on this whole these are ridiculous names.
So he just bought a bowl.
That's awesome.
There's no USF&G Sugar Bowl anymore?
No, but there is a what did I just see? The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
Well, he needs the sun to grow the flakes.
I don't know.
No? Not correct?
Nice.
No. So who's worse, Jets or Giants? Could they win a bowl game?
Who is worse? Well, it depends on how you mean by worse. I will say, as things sit today.
All right. Here's how I'll define it.
Rebuild.
You ready for how I'll define worse?
Sure.
Who's going to have more wins next season?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of that depends on who's going to play quarterback for both teams and how much of a lead. I mean, it'll be Wilson, right? Zach Wilson for the Jets. So the question is, A, can the Jets put an offensive line in front of him that'll keep him upright? And B, can he stop doing stupid things?
For A, I'll say mediocre. For B, he can reduce that number. He probably won't stop.
All right. So I think if he takes a step forward, then the Jets should commensurately take a step forward. I think I saw some things, from who is it? The Johnson brothers? Is that who the two guys they drafted with the same name?
Oh, Michael Carter and Michael Carter the third.
Right. Michael Carter, right. Michael Carter, MC squared. As an example, I thought both Carters were pretty good. And if they can put an offensive line together Maybe get a really good wide receiver in free agency. I think they have some cap space.
Yes, they do.
I expect the Jets can be, competitive to be a 500 team or maybe a little better next year, provided Zach Wilson stops doing so many stupid things.
Yeah, and provided they move to an easier division, which they're probably not allowed to.
That may be a problem. That may be a problem. And all three teams in front of them do seem to be, the Dolphins set a record, as I think you told me the other day, the first team ever to lose 7 games in a row and then win 7 games in a row in the same year. That's
Yeah,
impressive. And
yeah.
particularly that they did it in that order. I think it's been done the other way, probably.
They were what? They were 1-7, right?
They won their first game, lost their next 7, and won their next 7.
That's those the teams ahead of them have good coaching, 2 out of 3 good quarterbacks. I mean, Tua wins games. I don't quite know how sometimes, but he finds a way, and they run a lot of jet sweeps and little pitches and nonsense like that. In college, it seemed like he could throw the ball fine. Now he doesn't seem to have the arm he had a few years ago. But if he ever turns into a top 15 quarterback, gosh, Miami's going to be good.
Yeah,
And where are Buffalo and New England going? Probably nowhere. So,
yeah,
the Jets will have to find a way to go 2-4 in the division in the future and get in the playoffs, or just become significantly better. And I don't know that they'll be significantly better for at least a couple years.
yeah. Conversely, the Giants are in a much easier division.
Yes.
The Washington team of football does not seem any closer to competing than they were a year ago. The Eagles may or may not have a decent quarterback in Hurts. The Cowboys seem legit. I mean, the 150 plus point differential is second best in the NFL. And 11-4 seems legit. Dak is Dak. They've got Elliott. They've got a good receiving core. The defense is good. Micah, what's his name, is a great Parsons.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is a great defensive end slash LB, whatever the heck they're playing him at. So the Giants, as I alluded to, the Giants seem like they're close to having to rebuild. I think they need to tear the whole thing down. I think they need to fire the GM. You could argue that Judge deserves another chance. You could argue that Jones deserves another chance.
All right, I'm going to have you try to make neutral arguments for you're keeping Jones around another year, or you're making a big run at Wilson. Those are your two choices. You can't do a third. You can't do a third thing.
I'm not excited about the two choices, but okay. So the idea of going with Daniel Jones is that he hasn't had a good offensive line. He's always been kind of running for his life, and he's dealt with injuries in front of him and around him and to him. To the around him, meaning the other skill position guys that he's trying to throw to and hand the ball off to. And the offensive line's been a disaster for basically his entire tenure. And as well, he's only had a handful of games over his career where it seemed like someone who understood what his strengths are was calling the plays. And that's, that if you've got sort of a non-traditional quarterback skill, and he does, you need to have somebody call a non-traditional game, and they don't.
Right.
So if you're going to put something together, do that. Yeah. Draft an offensive line, get a running back from somewhere. They have good wide receivers and tight ends. And get a strength and conditioning coach in there that can keep guys healthy, or say your prayers, or both.
All right, now make me the case for Wilson.
Well, the case against Daniel Jones is most guys have taken some sort of step forward by their third year, and he hasn't. He's been neutral to backwards across any statistical measure you want to take. except that he's actually physically reduced the number of turnovers, but not necessarily as a percent of his plays, just the sheer number has gone down. So if you're going to go by that, compared to any other quarterback who's ever sort of made the leap, he's done. He is what he is. You need to start over. There's no good quarterback in the draft. The best case is you got a second round talent in a guy like Kenny Pickett. So you may as well go trade for a Russell Wilson, who is a winner, a proven winner. And on the chance that this year, when he's been not great, and they've been the Seahawks are sitting at 5-10, you can rejuvenate his career in a new setting with a good offensive line and a different set of receivers and so forth.
All right. I'm Seattle, and I'll say give me your 2 number 1s this year and number 3 next year.
You can have one of my number 1s this year and a number 1 next year.
And a number 3 this year.
Yeah, I'd have to look at what else we got. That doesn't throw me. Listen, Russell Wilson, he's overpaid. He's yes. a very good quarterback.
Yes,
but he needs to be a smaller percent of your salary cap in order to build a proper team around him that he can win with. He's proven he can win. He should have 2 rings, but Carroll's an idiot.
Well, yes. He still didn't have to throw it, but yes.
Right.
But I can't argue with your point.
Right.
Pete Carroll.
So that's the Giants. I mean, you're probably looking at tearing the whole thing down, or at least starting over with a new GM. And whether or not Joe Judge is a good coach, I honestly don't know right now. And whether or not Daniel Jones is a good quarterback, I honestly don't know right now. I know he's not a great quarterback. I know from day one, I knew they shouldn't have used the number 6 overall pick on him. He's probably a second round talent.
Yeah.
And that's a different story at that point. You're paying him less. You've got better talent around him because you use your draft choices better, theoretically. So I don't know. I think the Giants, the only argument of the Giants having a better record next year is that they somehow figure out the right pieces and their division stinks compared to the Jets. Which are both, that is an incontrovertible fact. The NFC is bad.
You're right. I'm not converting. What? I'm not in contra what?
Yes. You're not buying a convertible.
I am not buying a convertible, no. But you have to take on some trivia, and you have to go 5-0 again. So it's up to you to decide what are you going to do, because people out there are going to try to beat the Boz, and they'll try to beat them by sending their selections of the 5 games I'm about to give you. They can send them to Twitter at FlickBoz, or they can send to our email, flickboz@gmail.com, or they could just answer on the YouTube site when we post this episode 52, coming in just before the end of the year. It's like we did one a week, only it took us a year and 9 months. But we got that. We got to a full deck.
We got to a full deck. Playing with a full deck. I'm ready to make my picks. I have no idea.
The confidence. He's got notes. He's got charts, graphs.
He's
going to show us on the telestrator what he selects.
Bam.
All right. I tried to pick games that at least had some playoff implications for one or both teams, and that starts with the Falcons at the Bills.
I'll take the Bills.
No, you're supposed to describe.
Analysis. The Falcons. Somewhere I saw an article the other day that the Falcons may be, I forget what it had, the best bad team ever, or the worst good team. I think it was the best bad team ever. And they're bad. Listen, the Falcons' point differential is minus 122.
I saw them beat Detroit. I saw them beat the Jets.
It's 5 points better than the 2-12-1 Lions. It's the second worst in the NFC, and the fifth worst in the entire NFL. They're bad, and yet they're 1 game out of a playoff spot.
Yes.
So they're bad. They're playing a
This
good
game
team.
this game matters to them.
It does, but that a lot of people make picks based on they need the game. That's irrelevant. So many teams need a game and lay an egg every year.
Well, I couldn't pick Giants Bears.
Well, yeah, there's a big draft pick on the line, and the Giants own the Bears draft pick. So who do you want to win? I'm sorry. Uh,
I mean,
listen,
the Jags look awful.
the
I don't
Bills.
know.
If you want to argue need, the Bills need to win this game to keep ahead of the Patriots and get and win the division.
All
The
right.
fact is,
So
the
you're
Bills are a good team, and the Falcons are not. The Bills are home. It'll probably be bad weather, and the because that's what happens in Buffalo in December, and or January, as the case may be. And the Falcons are bad. They're a bad team, and they're going to lose this game.
as you know, I do not make picks. I do not pay attention to that kind of stuff. But when I could just see this at about 1:30 or so on Sunday, and we go to Buffalo where the Falcons have taken a 12-0 lead, or
12-6, 12-2, right? It'll be
12-2. Well, no, I had them up 10-0 and getting a safety. You didn't let me.
I thought there would be a missed extra point or two in there.
Well, there are a lot of those. All right, so you're going with the Bills.
So
For those of you at home, you can take that free square and move on to Miami at the Titans.
this is an interesting one. The Titans are struggling without their best player. They did get a key win last week against San Francisco at home, which I didn't think they would do. They lost to the Steelers. They shut out the Jaguars. Since Derrick Henry went down, they've been mediocre. They're 10-5. They actually do, I think, have a chance to win the number one seed in the AFC if things break right. But they also might lose the division if they lose their last two games. The Dolphins, meanwhile, as we said, have lost 7 in a row and then won 7 in a row. I think they keep it going. I think the Dolphins upend the Titans on the road. The Dolphins are not great on the road. They're 3-4 away from home. But I think they get it done this week. Mostly a pick against the Titans because I think they're going to miss. The Dolphins' defense has been playing really well. They're getting enough out of Tua. I think they get it done and beat the Titans on the road this week.
So far, you've selected 2 AFC East teams just to signal how tough that Jet division is. You've gone with the Bills and the Dolphins.
Yes, sir.
And it's going to be hard to take a third AFC East team in this next game, but you have the fine matchup of Denver at the Chargers.
I knew you were going to pick this game.
Why?
Because I can't pick the Chargers. I have not picked them right yet this year.
I can't just let you go 5-0. I got a lot of you picked easy games,
I don't know how many times you've had me pick the Chargers, but let's say it's 10. I'm 0-10. 0-10.
You're going to break that
against
streak.
them. The answer is that's wrong.
I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm going to go with my man Justin Hebert and Keenan Allen or whoever else is playing for the Chargers. The Broncos had a tough game last week against the Raiders. They were ahead. I think they coughed up the lead. They had a tough game against the Bengals. They were ahead and coughed up the lead. They did, trade, I think, their best player in Von Miller a couple weeks ago, but they've managed to stay in the race in the AFC wild card spot. Obviously, this is a game where both teams need it. I think the Chargers at home get it done here. They've been playing better than the Broncos. Well, I shouldn't say that. They lost to the Texans last week.
They did.
They lost to the. Let me just say that again. They lost to the Texans last week.
They did. Yes. I'll repeat it.
I'm gonna go opposite here and say that they right the ship, and get the chicken salad sandwich, and get this thing going back on track.
So you are going with the Chargers over the Broncos,
I
and
am.
there were limited options here at the 4 o'clock games. There's some lean matchups, Lions and Seahawks, but I am going to make you pick between the Arizona Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys.
So the Cardinals are another team that's had sort of a tale of two seasons, not quite to the extent that the Dolphins have, but they were 7-0, right? And now they're sitting at 10-5.
I know they were like 10-1 or
Yeah,
something.
they
I may
lost their
be a
last
game off.
three,
Yeah.
uh, including to the Rams, the Lions by 18, by the way, to the Lions
Oof.
and
Oof.
to the Colts last week. So they've also lost since they started 7-0 to the Packers by 3 and to the Panthers by 24. So I don't know what happened to the Cardinals, but they're not the same team that was 7-0. They're just not. I'm going to take the Cowboys at home. Cowboys have been doing very well. They've won their last 4 since losing an arrow.
That's what worries me. Something's got to go wrong with them, right?
Yeah, yeah, they do have a tendency to mess things up. I think even a diehard Cowboy fan would certainly agree with that. I just think the Cardinals are they are who they thought we were. They were, right?
Huh?
To quote my good friend Denny Green, right?
Yes. Denny Green, clock management expert.
Clock man. Oh no, am I thinking of Herm Edwards that said that? Denny Green was the.
No, you play to win the game is Herm.
All right. So I did have it right. Yeah, Denny Green. They
Playoffs?
are who
That's
we
a
thought we
different. All right. And your final game is, of course, the Sunday night game with the Minnesota Vikings against the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I mean, I think the easy pick is the Packers here, and I'm going to go with the easy pick.
Might be a bit chilly on Sunday night, but
It could
that's
be.
just my.
Packers, seem to be the Packers have one puzzling loss on their season. Right. They lost the opening day game
The
38
very
to
first
3 to the
game, right?
Saints.
Yeah.
38 to 3.
Yeah.
Not that they lost to the Saints, who at the time had Jameis Winston rather. Um, and were, ostensibly looking like a potential playoff team. They still are a potential playoff team. I think they're uphill battle without Winston. Uh, their other 2 losses are to the Chiefs at the start, which was the first game in the Chiefs run of 7 in a row now or 8 in a row. When Rodgers was out with COVID, and then to the Vikings when Mason missed like a 32-yard field goal and they lost by 3. So since other than that, they have won every game against some pretty good teams. Sometimes, the Steelers, the 49ers, Bengals, Cardinals, the Rams, Ravens. There's some good teams in there. No great teams. I don't know who the great teams are in the NFL. But they have, other than the Chiefs, who I think are probably one of them, despite having started 3-4. So, to make a short story long, I'm picking the Packers. I've said on this venue before, I don't trust Kirk Cousins. I don't really understand the notion that people think he's a good quarterback. I guess statistically he's a good quarterback, but he doesn't seem to win games. And that's kind of important in the NFL. So I'm going with the Packers.
I didn't even get a menu. How'd you get a menu?
What now?
Or was that a venue? Okay. Venue. All right. You said you've picked them on this venue before. Okay.
Yes.
Now I figured it out. Okay. So officially, your selections are the Bills, the Dolphins, the Chargers, the Cowboys, and the Packers.
Yes, sir.
And if you think the Bosman has these all wrong, or at least some of them wrong, get your picks in at FlickBoz on Twitter or flickboz@gmail.com or right here on the YouTube venue. You can just make a comment and select them here, as some people do. Are you ready for some trivial trivia?
Trivia time, trivia time.
As opposed to that very important trivia. You're going to get some trivial trivia.
Excellent.
I'm going to need for question number one, and you got to go 2 for 2 to get credit.
Oh boy.
I need the head coaches for Super Bowl 11.
What?
I need the head coaches for Super Bowl 11.
I heard you. What the Super Bowl 11?
There's probably a reason I'm asking.
I'm going to say John Madden is one of them.
That's good. Good.
Since he passed away yesterday at the age of 85. And who did he beat? He beat, I think it was the Vikings. So that would have been Bud Grant.
Bud Grant, not Lou Grant. Bud Grant. I might give you 1.5 credits for if that was correct, of course.
By the way, Lou Grant is the only guy to ever win an Emmy for Best Comedy and Best Drama for the same role.
Lou Grant, the comedy drama for the same role.
Ed Asner as Lou Grant.
Ed Asner is Lou Grant. So he was on Mary Tyler Moore.
Right. And then I think it was, he had a spinoff. I think it was just called Lou or something like that.
The Lou Grant Files?
Yeah.
The Lou Grant Chronicles?
So there you go. That. A little extra trivia for you trivia nuts.
Oh, it's trivial. It's trivial. So you're going with Madden and Grant. Okay. Were you any good at the Madden video games?
Yeah, for a while.
For a while. It was an easy Christmas present to buy me. I know that.
Yeah.
Every year I could get one. For a while there, when I had system or something. All right. One of my questions was going to be, in what year did the Madden NFL game sell the most copies? But I couldn't do that to you.
Thank you. I have no clue.
No, I wouldn't have either.
2006.
That's right.
What? That's awesome.
How did that just happen? I'm banging my head on the kitchen table. Ow, that hurt. Might have knocked some sense into me. Are you ready for more Super Bowl winning coach trivia?
Absolutely.
This active coach, who's a child of the 60s, was born on this date, December 29th, and he won the Super Bowl in 2009. And just for some extra info, he was also named Coach of the Year in 2006. So he's still active, been coaching a while.
I'm going to say Sean Payton.
Sean Payton.
I have no idea if he's old enough to be. It's probably about right. If he's a child of the 60s, he's a little older than me.
Well, I give you a range there. You know, he's
somewhere between 52 and 60 something.
Seems to make some sense. I'll say this. It's a reasonable guess.
All right.
Somebody like Pete Carroll might be too old.
He might.
And who would vote him Coach of the Year for anything? All right. Anyway, question number 3. Just a simple for NFL quarterbacks. Who's got the most passing yards in this season, 2021?
Ooh, there's a few that have been going sort of back and forth. I know at one point it was Derek Carr. Matthew Stafford's been up there. Tom Brady's been up there. I'll go with Brady.
You'll go with Brady. He's going with Brady.
Going with Brady.
All right. So for question 4, I put one question, then I said, nah, it's not fair. He'll never get that. That makes no sense. Then I put a second one, and I said, I don't love it. Then I happened to put a question about Tom Brady there. So it's your pick. You want the question about a college quarterback? You want a question about a backup NFL quarterback, or do you want a Tom Brady question? I'll let you decide.
Let's go college.
You'll go college. Well, I simply want to know. I was so impressed by the New Orleans starter this week, Ian Book. I wanted to know what college did he play for?
Ian Book played for Old Dominion. No, 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 that's not right.
Well,
That's where Taylor Heineke went. Uh,
I was impressed by him too.
yeah, well, he's been occasionally okay this year. Ian Book went to Brigham Young University.
BYU. Ian Book went to BYU. All right, I wrote it down. Question 5. And this was asked by a loyal Flick and the Bosman listener. He wanted to know who has the longest and second longest interception return in NFL history, and he claims it's the same guy.
The same guy has both the longest and second longest.
Yes, and he also claims they were both 107 yards.
Well, there's a few candidates that come to mind, unless it's somebody obscure. The
It
first,
is not somebody obscure.
yes.
I would not call this person obscure.
All right, that is good to know. The first
Yeah, that's
candidate that
good.
comes to
That's good.
mind is somebody who's been in the news as a college football coach recently, and that is Dion. Uh, Certainly had some return skills and some ball skills and some speed. Uh, so that's option number one. Somebody like Charles Woodson would certainly be another option. Uh, I don't think it's one of the older guys like a Kraus or a Night Train Lane. Um,
It is not one of the older guys.
all right.
I'll say it's a player from our generation. How about that?
All right. Uh, could be a Ronnie Lott or some such. But I'll stick with my first guess. My first instinct was Neon Dion. I'll go with Sanders.
All right, I'm writing that down. Neon Dion Sanders. Very, very good guess because I guessed it myself. I won't tell you if it's right or not, but that was my guess. um, and then another question sent in, and it also involved December 29th, oddly enough. And in 2007, the Patriots finished their undefeated regular season by beating this team.
That was the Giants. I
Can
think
you,
I can remember the score. It was 37-35 or something like that.
I was going to say, could you give me a score? I won't tell you the team, but the score was actually 38-35.
That was my other thought. I was right in that neighborhood. I knew that. I
We
remember
could
that.
not give you credit. And whenever Tim's on, I'll reveal all the answers at the end. But he's not a guest this week, so I will tell you you got many correct, but you did not go 6 for 6. So for the people out there who are listening and want to send in their answers, you certainly can do so. Any other thoughts on the NFL season or John Madden or your golf game or anything like that?
Well, I got to give the update on the Cheez-It Bowl. It is now 20,
Yeah,
20 to
please.
6. Clemson.
20. If we get sued for giving live updates, we already have some lawsuits in play here.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I sort of alluded to, just a quick rundown of kind of the playoff spots. To me, right now, the team to beat in the AFC is the Chiefs. They seem like they're firing on all cylinders. The eight in a row. They seem healthy. The defense seems running well. I'd say they're hands down the team to beat. They look like just win their last two games. They get home field advantage throughout, and that's the Bengals and the Broncos, although both road games. In the NFC, the Packers seem like they're kind of have things in hand. It's not a gimme that they'll beat the Vikings this week, but they do have the Lions next week. You figure if they have anything to play for, they'll win that game. And the Cowboys, Rams, and Bucks. seem like they all have a pretty decent shot to give the Packers a run. I don't know. If you look at the AFC, do you see any team that you say, wow, they could really, will the Bills give the Chiefs a game? The Titans? Colts? Who scares you in the AFC besides the Chiefs?
I mean, if it's the right kind of weather, and even in Kansas City, and the Colts are able to run the ball, they may give them a game. But yeah, Kansas City's got to be considered the most likely team to get there.
Yeah, yeah. Any of those? So you got what, four teams in the NFC that are legit. I don't see the Cardinals. The
No.
49ers have been playing well, but I don't see them. Garoppolo's out.
Yeah, and those type teams are going to have to put three really good games together,
Yeah,
and they're decent, but they're inconsistent. And
Cardinals, as we said, they've been
yeah,
struggling since the start.
I can't see the Cardinals putting three games together. I mean, I could see Dallas doing it. They
Yeah,
probably won't, but I could see
yeah.
it.
Bucks
You know,
certainly, Rams probably.
yeah, I get suckered into the Rams every year, and I probably would again. But Rams Chiefs would be an interesting Super Bowl.
The Stafford thing is interesting. I mean, he threw three interceptions last week, and they won anyway, right? Like, there's got to be a point where that gets into people's head, whether it's his or his coaches or his teammates. Like, can you stop turning the ball over in a big spot? He's got that reputation now, and that's going to be interesting to watch as the playoffs and the games get bigger, right? Like, he's too good a quarterback to have failed as miserably as he did in Detroit.
He's certainly got enough talent to be
Yeah,
successful doing it. Well,
you
we will find out more this week, and then hopefully we'll be back with a episode next week. And I want to wish everyone out there a happy and very safe New Year, and I'm sure Dave would do the same.
yeah, probably.
Probably you probably would do that. Uh, all right, and then get those trivia answers or picks in, and thank you for listening to episode 52, and we'll be back soon. Thanks a lot, Boz.
Peace out.